Hello everyone again. We are starting a webinar about precast concrete automated design in Revit. So I will be hosting this session. My name is Valens Blisavičius. I'm a structural engineer and BIM application engineer working in AGACAD. So a few words about our company. So AGACAD is a developer of tools. We sell them to different countries around the world. We have more than 11,000 users, and we create solutions based on our users' experience. So we promise to keep reducing the stress for our users and make these tools better every day. So this will apply, of course, to this solution. Now we have this software for the precast elements modeling, for the sum of the elements, for the floors, for the wall divisions. Then we have tool to insert details, skirts, connections. Another one to sort elements, and then the last one to create drawings and the sheets. So here are a few more words about precast solution and its benefits. And then, okay, some wrap up. So these are 5 tools which I will demonstrate today. And these are included in Precast Concrete Suite. So you can install all of them from our BIMs for the tool for BIM doc. So floor panel for the different slabs, paneling, and smart walls to join walls, smart details to insert elements, sort to write mark values, and assembly for automatic drawings. So I would like to concentrate mostly in this webinar about the connections, the T-butt and L-butt connections, so we can find different kind of connections between the elements and according to this insert details. Then we have improved a lot of floor panel layout to create slabs. And also I would like to talk more about dynamic update of smart assemblies. But of course I will talk about all the other functionalities. I will try to run through all of them. But the topic is really big, and I will run maybe just not through all of the available commands, and on general with some of the elements I will do a presentation, but we plan to do in the future the webinar series for different precast elements. So this will be a separate webinar for the walls, for the slabs, and for the framing elements. So this will be more detailed and I hope also interesting for you. So we will start maybe next month. And a few words about webinar next week. So this is about ventilated facades. If you are interested, if you are working with something like this, you can join the webinar next week. So this will just show how to create isolated panels, framing elements, connection details, and so on. So just on top of your building or your walls, existing walls. And I think we can just switch to the live demo now and see how does it work. So I will do this on this sample project. Let me move this one. And if you will have questions, just type them, okay? I will try to answer them during the webinar or after webinar. Probably after the webinar, it will be easier for me. So now I will show tools from this tools for BIM doc. You need to install it from our web page, and then you can go to the store and find all of our solutions and install these smart walls, sort marks, smart floors, and actually I have a few of them here, Smart Details and Floor Panel Layout on the ribbon. Actually, you can select any of these tools and click on this one and it will appear in the ribbon. You can drag it and you can use all these commands from here. Also, or from the dock. And then also you have this help page. You can go click on this and it will take you to the help web page. So you can find some information there. Okay, and we can start just using these tools now. So first of all, I have just a simple sample project, so which I would like to use for my demo. So these walls are like one single walls going from one end to the other end, and I want to prepare some panels from them. So I will go to the level 1 and I will create some panels here. So let me select one of the commands I would like to use from this tab. I want to use shorten pick wall end, and what it does is, like, if I click the end of the wall, it makes it like this. It just disallows joint, and it also gives a gap. This gap is defined in the gap configuration by wall type menu. If I will open that, you will see now I have different types of walls in my project, and these greens are used already in my project, and for the different types I can assign different gaps. So in this case I have 20 millimeters gaps, so it just gives this gap. Then I do the short picked wall command, or then I split walls. So I will do that later. Now I would like to actually just disassemble joints of these elements. Maybe I can just switch this one. Let's go around all of these walls. So I want to separate them from these adjoining elements. I want them to be panels. So first of all, I just shorten them. Now I will go to split wall menu and I will use other commands. So in this split wall menu I have some commands which are like individual by selecting grids or core faces of different walls and splitting walls in the intersection points, or I have splitting walls according to the openings. So these openings and other commands like split from start, from end, and so on, so they are defined in the split settings. So if I will open that, you'll see like we have some settings, like for the windows, for the doors, we have different distances to split the panels. Then we have panel width, maximum panel width, we have minimum width, and so on. So we have these settings, and we can use some of these now on the walls. So first of all, I can draw actually grid lines, not the building grid lines, but I just created different type. I will go here. So I know the distances which I need, right? So it depends on the situation here, how to connect these elements. Then maybe architectural some requirements. Maybe I can put some dimensions here just to confirm with my teammates if I can split them. And now I can just select these grid lines. Okay, and I will split by selected grids, and I need to select the wall and escape, and now my wall is split at the exact points of the grid lines, and I have this gap of 20 millimeters again because of my settings. Okay, so what else? Probably, yeah, I forgot I want to actually shorten this one and this one, maybe, yeah, and this one. Also these. Okay, anyway, let's see what else we can do. Let's say I see some openings here, so actually I want to split around these openings. So I will select these walls and I will just go ahead and use this command. So now I will have defined distances from the opening. So let's say I have splitting. Another command, let's say I will select these walls. What else do I have here? Maybe this one also. And I will just split them by maximum spacing, so it will not reach the defined maximum spacing in my settings. Then maybe these walls I want to split by from pick end. So I will select this one and click escape. And now I have these panels just from that side, the same panels. Okay, so I have these walls splitted, and I think there are some other commands here to just like disallow joints, or just to go through the modifications of the walls, or change gap distance after you split them, or we can decompose wall just to create a few walls from one multi-layered wall. But I think it's enough about this solution. We can just go on to different one, which I want to talk about more, is the floor panel layout. So I will use this one from the ribbon. I will drag it here, so it will be easier to use it. Okay, so let's take a look now. What can I do? Let's say I have just rectangular floor, right? Just like architectural floor or something. And I want to create the panels for this. So first of all, I need to divide into the regions of the supporting slabs. Then I need to plan my slabs, and then I will create panels. So first of all, I will use this command. So now I will add supports. I select the floor, and now I select the supports. This one, maybe this one, also this one, and maybe I will select also the sides, and I'll escape. And you will see now I have 3 regions here. Like I have split lines added to my slab, but actually I want to have a little bit more, so I will use add trimmer corner supports. So for this slab, so I'll select this wall and this wall. So you see the splitting line appears. Then maybe I need also some additional support over here and over here. So let's see. Now I have more regions, and it's enough for me. So I'm happy about it, and I can do now panel layout planning. And what does it mean? Is that I can define settings, let's say the panel width or the maximum width if I want to use that, then some settings for the first and last panel, and how to from which side to create this panel layout. So let's see just how can we do this now. I will create panel layout for the face or for the wall floor, but then I want to have different directions and so on, so probably it's just better to use this one on separate floor. And you see now these regions, they just got these blue lines around, and if I will go to close to this line, so this panels or just division lines will be will be perpendicular to this edge. So I can do that like this for this panel. The same. I want to be like this. I want to create some panels perpendicular to this edge. Okay, another one over here. Maybe this one also. And another one over here. Okay, so I have splitted them. And you see that all of our tools, we have a lot of update, modify, align, delete options. So we want to follow all the processes of design. So let's try to change something. Let's say I want to modify something. I want to change the distance actually for these panels. Okay, I will make them white and I will change their distribution of these panels. So it will be like this. Okay, I can also maybe do a line layout. So I want to align these according to this one. So let's say it will be moved. So you can just do it in different ways, make changes of alignment and so on by using different commands. Let's say I want to join these regions. I don't want to create slabs here. Maybe I want to create just a cast in place, some kind of element over here. Okay, so I will just remove one of the division lines. So okay, that's okay. It's enough for me. I'll just go ahead and create panels now. So in create panel settings, I have now the support length on the sides or at the ends, because now it just goes to the lines. But I can define what should be support if I have the boundary as a structural wall or as a structural framing or the grid. Then I have parameters which will be written to the floors, so I can schedule them. Then I have possibility to choose precast floor type. Also insert holes, so I'll pick the hole types. These are provided with software. And now I will add massive also for the cast in place floor. So I will save these settings and let's create some panels. So again, I will do that for the face. I'll select this and I'll select this area. I will select this area of this type of slabs. Now I will go back again to the panel settings. I will make them smaller because I don't want to use the same size of the panels everywhere. So I will select this one. Again, I select any of these lines and it will generate real panels, real floors in this area. So I select this and I will select that. And one more time, I want to make some changes. I will change massive. I will actually switch off holes and I will use also like a thin slab for this area, for the last one. Okay, so now I have panels over here without holes. And yeah, that's great. Now actually what I want to do next, I would like to insert some details. But let me go to this view. So I just had hidden all the floors and I will start inserting some details on the walls. I will move aside this tool and I will drag down now the smart details. Smart details, it allows insert details on the face of the element. So let me show you configurations. So it's based on configurations. You prepare configurations where and how and what kind of details do you want to insert. These details are created by you, just some face-based families or line-based families. So in this area you see you have a few tabs for the line-based families on different faces of element and point-based families on different faces of the element. And what kind of categories are supported. You can insert details on cable trays, on curtain panels, on ducts, floors, line-based generic models, on wall parts, on pipes, structural columns, foundations, framing, and walls. So these are different categories. You can create configurations for these elements and you can insert your details later. So let's take a look to my configurations. I will switch to the walls And I have this configuration, let's say, and let's take a look. What can we just assign here? I will switch to the point-based, let's say, family, okay? So here I select what kind of family I will use. So it could be like cut or the solid, so it doesn't matter. It depends on what do you want to do. You can also select this from the family browser or just select from the list. So it depends on you. Then you select to insert this element, select on which phase do you want to insert this element. Then you have some options how to insert this element. Let's say this detail is rotated. Then it's in one axis you can define how it will be inserted, and in other axis I have start and end offsets from the bottom and the top, and then I have the rule to distribute elements the defined maximum spacing distance. And also additionally I have this feature, so now I have possibility to search horizontally for the connecting elements. I search for the elements, I search for this kind of connection, L connection, or it could be like T connection, or it could be just end connection, so just wall-to-wall ends. And connection category, so it depends what I'm looking for. I can search for structural framing elements or generic models, so anything. And then again, just define, let's say for the bottom faces, I have this detail. I have possibility to search for solid body if it's enough, or if it's not enough to insert this detail. Again, some rule with some offsets and so on. So I prepare this configuration, and what can I do now? I will select actually all of this type of walls and just insert these details, and I will use that configuration. So we have some different walls, some you will see actually. Okay, so let's insert this one. Okay. So now what was inserted? It was inserted just according to my settings. I have cut at the end. I have details with defined maximum spacing. I have details also with a offset from the side. 400 is offset and maximum distance is 800. So I have these elements. Okay, and yeah, these are straight walls, and these are a bit different. Let's say this one, right? It has connections on one side and on the other side. So if I will select one of these detail and rotate, so you will see now I have inserted this kind of family in the T connection. If I will modify this detail, if I will click on modify, it will show me this tab which defines this rule. I can save this configuration, I can change settings, I can do the update to this detail and so on. So now you see it was looking for T connection, and then it inserted this detail. If it doesn't have the T connection like this panel, it just don't have this detail. Let's say this one, it has, if I will go there, you will see it has L connection. So it's searching for the L connection and it inserts this detail. So okay, these panels, they are different type. Let me just select all of them and also insert details so it will look nicer. Where is it? Okay, it's here, and I will just click on insert. So again, with smart details, it's also like a floor panels. It could be used for not only for the precast, but it could be used, let's say, the floors could be divided for the wooden frames, or for the just ground concrete layer, for the temperature division point lines, and so on. Okay, so I have inserted these. Now at the end I have this detail, right? Now what else? Okay, so we have now this connection fully connected, and here, yeah, we have also these connections in the T connection point. Okay, and what can we do? We can actually easily change anything when we do these details, right? So we can, let's say, modify, and I have, let's say, prepared another detail, but I didn't insert this in the beginning. I will just click on this one now, and I will click on OK. So I can make changes to any of these panels individually, or I can modify, save this to the global configuration, and I can, let's say, update by global configuration. So you will see now it just will add additional elements to this. So this is easy to follow the process just by updating elements and changing something, the distances, the sizes, and so on. So let's see what we can do with the floors. So for the floors, let's say, okay, maybe I would like to hide generic model families. So I will select only floors now. Why can't I select this one? Okay. Okay, so I'll select maybe, what did I select? Connection. I will skip that. Okay, some panels, let's say. I want to insert panels, right? So I will insert details, and I will just select a different configuration for this. I have this hollow core ends. Let me edit this one. I would like to check if I have this one. Maybe I can just switch this off. I don't want to insert all of the details in this configuration. I did some changes anyway. I forgot to save it. Okay, I will modify this one. I will switch off this detail. I will save it, and I will make an update. And I will do the same for these elements, right? So I can select these and update by DC because I have saved the global configuration, so I can just remove these details. And again, you see the same rule applies, just with maximum spacing over here, so you can use this on different sizes of slabs. Then let's say it's not so difficult to change something, right? So if I'll again select the detail, modify, I can just increase the distance or the number or both and do the update. So it will update one of them elements, or I can save it as you saw it before. And okay, let's see another way. What can we do? What else can we do? Let's say I will select these, and actually, of course, let's see, and this one, and insert details, and another one. I will use this filigran or girder slab, whatever you call it. So I have just line-based family again. So this was like inserted just along from the beginning point to the end. And again, it's not so difficult to change something. You see the settings, how it was inserted. You can modify anything and do the updates anytime. And if you see that, okay, it doesn't matter actually. This just goes, it depends on the length of the floor. So it just goes from beginning to the end. So it doesn't matter the length of the floor. Okay, so once again, I will select, maybe I will select it like this. Okay, and insert details. And now I will choose this one, the slab with ribs. I call it like this. I don't know if you have such example, but it's like an example. What can you do? Let's say I inserted some ribs at the edges of the slab, and then some ribs in the middle you know, to support the slab and so on. So there are different ways how to work with smart details. Let's say, and one additional feature of smart details is that you see I used the same configuration for the smaller panel, and this detail is shorter, and the reason for this is that I use this special parameter which I use to define the length of my element. So if I'll go to reference level, you will see that length of my element is defined by this hashtag width parameter. So what does it mean actually? When I create this parameter, I enter the hashtag, then I enter the name of parameter in the host element. So my slab, it has this parameter, right? So I make it with an instance and model properties. And the reason for this is that during the insert of details, I read the name of parameter, the value of that parameter in the host element, and I change this value. So it means like when I do the insert of the details, so now you see this one, it has like 993.1, just the same as this floor. So it has width and length parameters added when it was created. So the same for this detail. And in this case, I have it just different 2.4 meters, right? So it's the same width as a slab. So again, you can also create these families with additional extensions and so on, and just adapt to different situations. Let's say like this family was created with different step and then start of set some parameters to calculate the number of elements here. So this is just the way, different ways how to use this, how to utilize this. Let's see how it works with columns and take a look to a few other examples. Let's say I will select these columns. I will insert details, right? And I will go to concrete corbels. So I'll insert details. So now 10 of the columns, they have these details. So what do I have here? I have element at the bottom. I have shoes, and I have corbels. And why do I have, corbels are inserted in the intersection point with a beam, with a L connection, and the intersection point is here at the top of the column because the line of the beam is here, but the corbel was moved down because, again, I can read information from the host element, like for the shoes, let's say, of a column. I read the size of a column to adjust the distance between balls. And in this case, I read the size of the beam by using double hashtag in the front of the name of parameter of the beam. So my beam has this H value of 500. So I moved this element by 500 by using this parameter. And let's say in this case, now I have it 600. So it adapts to the sizes of connecting elements, right? So it's much easier for me to create something. And another one I would like to show you also with the columns. So I will select only columns and insert details again with the steel corbels and insert. So again, let's take a look. Now I have 400 by 400 column, then 400 by 500 and 500 by 500. But now the distance between balls is adjusted. These values are written because I read the information from the host element and I adjust this distance between balls during the insert of details. So I hope it's clear. And how to create, I saw a question was about how to create these families. So it's not very difficult, but yeah, we have again, if you go to Smart Details and Help page, so you'll find one file. It is described how to create this parameter and how to use it. And if it's still not clear, we do the training after we sell the software. So I will always explain this. And anyway, if you need some support, you can always write to me. So okay, let's take a look to these connections. So you see the two beams coming from the sides. So I have two details, and here I have 1, 2, 3 details because I have 3 beams coming to the side. Because in my and actually this detail is a bit different from this one, because here in configurations I set up that the T connection I will insert PC3, and for the L connection for L connection I have PC3 up detail, and yeah, it looks like this. It looks something like L connection, right? Okay. Then let's say, yeah, let's insert some kind of just insert details. So for the for the column corbels, let's say, so I have, let's say, just a simple void phase-based family, really simple. Maybe just additional parameter to read this beam height again, just to cut through the full height of a beam. So just a simple family here, and some, let's say, lifting anchors. They could be inserted by using gravity point, just 2 elements with a defined distance. So again, another feature of Smart Details. And yeah, it could be used in different ways for the walls, for the structural framing elements, columns, foundations, and connect pipes and so on. So many different ways. Yeah, let's say for the slabs, for the bubble decks, I mean, like create some kind of spheres and distribute them in 2 directions just by using rules. Again, another way to create something in Revit. And okay, we have some update details. We have some delete options, how to just delete all of these details selected from the selected elements, and we can also insert gravity point, but actually I do this most of the time with a gravity point by using smart assemblies, which I will talk about in the end. Now I want to sort elements before I start making some drawings. I want to have mark values for the elements. So if I will activate sort mark, you will see now a possibility what I can renumber. So let's say I will select element numbering. So it will give me a list of available categories in the project. So I will select the walls. I'll click OK. I will write these sorting values to the mark parameter. I'll click OK, and now I have configuration saved already. So just a very clear name by ID actually. So what can you do here? You can group elements according to any parameters. Let's say you can group them and then sort them within this group. Starting from beginning, right? Numbering tab gives us the option to select any parameter which might have influence on different values for the sorting values. So I selected instance ID, so it means like all the elements will have just different number, right? Then I can sort them according to again other just selected parameter, say by type name or whatever. So first will be numbered one type, then another type, and so on. So I can add some sorting options here, and sort mark the final result. So I selected just to add the sort mark number, calculate that value, and I added some prefix, and if I'll click OK, so now 40 of my elements are renumbered. So maybe we can just go here and select one of the walls. You'll see like it's W27, so this one, W15, and so on. So you can renumber these, and I would like to renumber also columns. So maybe I will just select, maybe now select, because it will give me only number for this particular column. So I don't need that. I want to renumber all the columns in my project. So it works for all the category, or I can, select the group of elements and do the renumbering for them. And I can do as many times as I want with renumbering and write these values. So now I have a grouping of columns in this configuration. They will be grouped according to the model behavior and structural usage. Then numbering by type name. So probably I will have some same mark numbers because I have same type names. Okay, so I have here some additional numbering features for the columns especially. So I have additional marks I can add for the different material for model behavior value. It depends on this one. So I can add mark, and I have just a bit longer definition for a calculated mark value. And I'll click OK. So this one is default, I think, after installation. So we have 32 elements renumbered, and we have some of them the same mark values, right? Because they have same type and same place and so on. So now I have the mark, which consists of precast concrete. Then we have material concrete, and then numbering values for these columns, let's say. So some of them, they just have the same mark, and that's it. We can do the same with all the other elements, right? So the last tool I want to show you is how to create drawings and how to do dynamic update for the assembly. So I will go back to this view, I think. So how does it work? With Smart Assemblies, you have configurations. If I'll open that, I will open Shop Drawing Configurations. Again, you define, okay, so now you define how many views do you want to create, right? What kind of view do you want to create? You have here options as a standard in Revit, and you have options for the flipped versions also of the section views. So automatically you can have these sections flipped. Then you have possibility to add legends. So you can use legends in the sheet template, and they will be added to the assembly sheet automatically. Now here, this is the view type. So the section heads could be different in assembly view than in plan view. Then the view name, just type whatever you want here. The view template, all the visibility, all the scale, and so on could be saved here. Dimension rule, this one is important because if I will go to this one and the dimension rules, you will see this kind of dimension rule description window. And again, it looks like a wall, but actually it applies to the beam, to the wooden beam, to a concrete beam, to a steel beam, and whatever element you have. So it's just the dimension rules. It's not like dimensioning of some particular element. So it just works with some categories like wall, parts, floors, columns, framing elements, foundations, and so on. Okay, so I'll go here. We have settings for the non-standard cuts. So these are standard, non-standard cuts on the sides of the element. Standard cuts, so we have limitations. We can switch or join dimension lines and choose the placement side. Then openings, also we can limit the dimension size. We can group the dimensions together. Then hosted details. This one is really important because this is hosted metal details, and this one has possibility to snap dimensions to the lines in the family of connection. So if I create connection like this, it has a lot of solids, right? So which point to dimension? So there's a question like, where should I put the dimension? Maybe here, maybe here. So you can add model line inside the family in the place where do you want to have a dimension. So, and this option on. If I will switch this off, it will dimension the outside boundaries of the detail. If I will switch this off, it will dimension all the edges of the detail, right? So the best way is to keep this on, and when you have complex shape element, just add some model lines inside the family and snap to the right point. Okay, hosted concrete details. These are to describe how to dimension concrete details. So what's the difference between them is that they have material for model behavior. This one has concrete and this one has steel. Okay, so let's just run through others. Like we have dimension rules for the rebars. We have dimension rules, dimension priority and nodes. So I can switch off dimension of any elements I don't need to. Let's say I can create one configuration and save it under different name. Like I don't want to create openings with one configuration. With other configuration, I don't want to create dimension hosted details. So I can save it and use later in my configurations. And here you can just switch how the dimensions could be, nodes should be displayed in your drawing. So here I can just create different dimension rules and apply it to different views. Let's say for the front view, I want to see hosted details, but for the left, for the section view, I don't want to see to dimension hosted details. So I can switch this off. Then I have possibility to tag elements, tag details, insert gravity point, make it visible actually in the view. Just some different options for the update and so on. We also have some reverse possibility of the wall, so just to reach good here reverse back and front views of the wall. So this one allows to create shop drawings in a way you need for the manufacturers and so on. There are some additional options and so on. So also in the last version, which will be released like tomorrow or in the beginning of next week, so you will have possibility to create detail views. So what does it mean is that you can create not assembly view, but the view in the model. So it means you will be able to create view with surrounding elements of assembly. So you will see assembly, dimensions of assembly, and also the elements around. Let's say assembly of this wall, you will see this and this one walls. So sometimes it's needed. So this view will be created as a standard view, but with automatic dimensions. Okay, schedules. So for schedules, again, we can create as many schedules as we want, part list, material takeoff, and so on for assembly instance or assembly type. Then number of sheets, you can have a few. Here, just select the title blocks. If you have more than 2, you need to add some suffixes here and the sheet template. So if you have prepared the assembly already, so you can and drag the views to the sheet, so then you can use that sheet as a sheet template. In my case, actually I have prepared the project like this with different assemblies. And I have created assemblies. I placed views on the sheet like this. Okay, let's say I have this one, it has 2 sheets. So I have placed my views on the sheet. And now in that project, I will use the template project sheets to create my sheets on this project. So let me select few of the floors, let's say like this, and create assemblies. So now in Revit, you would have only one assembly now of 3. Sorry, I don't have the names or mark values. Did I miss to? Okay, I just renumbered just walls and columns. I would like to renumber also the, sorry, did I select the walls again? I want to select floors. So that was my mistake. Let me select this again and do a mark and just renumber, because for the assembly I need to have mark values. Okay, I think that's all right, because when I create assembly, it takes mark value and it just names the type of assembly according to this mark value. So I will select these 3 and I'll click on create assemblies now. So it will give me an option to select the configuration which I want to use, and yes, actually I want to use this configuration. So I'll click on create. And now if Revit would create assemblies, you would have just one assembly of with 3 floors. But Smart Assemblies, it will create 3 assemblies. So it will just give me a message about the openings and the assembly views, because I have, I think, the same type assemblies now. So I have it, yeah, HCS5, all of them, they have the same type because they are actually the same. But what I have here now, I have assembly and I have a sheet and everything is placed. Okay, so it doesn't look good because now in my template project, probably the length of the slab is just a bit shorter. That's why it was not fitted in the right place. So when you use sheet templates, it should be like approximately the same size element, you know, just to fit the same place of the sheet. But let me just now make one trick. Maybe I can do something here. I want to select this floor actually, and I want to modify details. I wonder, it doesn't allow me to modify. What's happening? Why don't you let me? Okay, so now it gives me, probably I selected the wrong element. And now I want to go to the top and I want to modify this detail. So I will just enter the different number and I will do the update. So now you see this message. So that's the message of dynamic update functionality of Smart Assemblies. So I want to make changes to my primary assembly and it gives me a question. What do you want to do? You want to update drawings? Click yes. Maybe you want to just recalculate but not update drawings. Just recalculate the mass of the element because we made the changes. So probably the element mass will change, or you just don't want to do these changes. So I'll click on no. I don't want to update drawings, but I want to make changes to it and see the update process now. So what's happening now is that all other assemblies were also updated automatically. So if I will go to this dynamic smart assemblies update and I will switch this off, right? So it will be just a standard Revit way. So for Revit, if we'll make some changes, so it will just create new assembly. So HCS 6 and this one HCS CS5, and So that's the trick of a dynamic update of assemblies. It allows us to make changes to all same type assemblies at once, and it gives us unexpected control of changes. So if I want to change something, you know, it doesn't change it, but let's say, it just gives you a question. I want to make changes to secondary assembly. So now it asks me, do I want to create a new assembly, or maybe I just want to cancel? So this time I will cancel that. Because like in Revit, it's like you create assemblies, and one of them they have drawings, so you don't have this active button to acquire drawings, and this one is just a copy of this assembly. So if I will click on Manage Assemblies, and I will select this command to show primary and secondary assemblies, so it selects all the same type assemblies in my model, and I can also click on Show Primary Assembly. So this assembly contains drawings. If I delete this assembly, I will lose drawings. If I delete this assembly, I just lose this assembly, but I don't lose the drawings of this HCS5, right? So that's dynamic update. It helps us to create assemblies, to follow the updates and so on. So probably we can also use this in different situations. Let's say, let me select 2 of or 3 of walls and create assemblies. And let's see, once again, I will choose this configuration, create. So probably, yeah, I selected all the same type. So again, I will have only one assembly, but that's okay. I want to show you dynamic update once again. Let's say, so these will be the same type of assemblies. But yeah, assembly just takes one element and, oh, okay, we are not the same actually. So what's the difference to them? So they had some difference. Okay, so now I have this assembly. So you see, I have the drawings. I have dimension points because this detail, it has this model line inside. And I have these points snapping to this model line, so I can just make this possible to dimension in the exact locations where do I want to have this dimension line. Again, I have gravity point dimensions, I have total dimensions, and so on. So it depends on my configuration. So everything is placed in the same order as it is placed in the template project. I just define that the location of my template project, that one, the previous one, right? This one. So I define where this project is, and it reads this project. It finds the same type of assemblies. It just creates assemblies according to these sheets, and also, yeah, of course, according to the selected configurations. Yes, so okay, let me switch back to that project. I said I wanna do some things to, yeah, I have here one, so 26, 26. Okay, let's go to the section view and let's do it like this. Now it's 26, 26. Okay, so if I will do one thing, if I will, let me check which one of them is primary assembly, right? So I will click on show me primary, and this one is primary. So I will edit this assembly. I will go to structure. I will go to rebars. Okay, some information, and I will sketch the rebar. I will select the plane. Oh, sorry. Now I will select the plane, and now I will draw some, let's say, just any shape of reinforcement. So let's say I need to, update all of my same type assemblies with reinforcement. So I added this reinforcement, I finished modification, and now I have this question again. Do I want to update the drawings and so on? So maybe I just skip the update of drawings. I will just update the assembly. So now you see I have this rebar inserted to that assembly also, right? So that's cool feature. You can use it. You can try this one. Of course, you can just download these solutions, try it on. Just if you have questions about other functionalities, also let me know. And I hope to hear from you soon. Let me say a few words for the ending, and then we will see if you have more questions. Okay, because like these are all of our solutions we have. So we have different wood framings, like family browser, project browser, some solutions for MEP engineer, cut openings everywhere, in any possible ways in a model. You can have free trials of these elements for 2 weeks, for 14 days. Just go to our web page, download this Tools for BIM doc. Yeah, so this is the first step, download Tools for BIM doc, then get a trial, install of these solutions from the doc. And so, yeah, we will work and we expect to work on this precast concrete, I guess, in the future, because like we plan these webinars and so on. So, okay, guys, so thank you for attention, and we'll get in touch, I think. See you on next webinars. Bye-bye.